by Common Cause NC, who is probably what we would call our lead sponsor. So we appreciate all the work they do. I'll get into the introductions in a minute, but we're going to do a little housekeeping, just so you know, and if I tell you how the program's going to run, it'll make it easier for everybody. So I'm going to start by asking you to make sure that you turn off the ringers on your phones. We don't need chimes coming in the middle. And the bathrooms, which are always important to know, there are some located downstairs and there are some in the back hallway, and our volunteers who have those really cool blue signs on badges can point you to them. We do want you all, this looks like a very nice crowd of people, but we do want to remind you to please be respectful. We are in a sanctuary, and we just want people to be respectful. We are going to allow applause tonight, like you just did, which is great, but all we ask is that you try not to extend your applause so that if someone's speaking, we would like everyone to hear what they are saying. The questions submitted by the audience must be legible, so we have people in the back who have been accepting your questions. If we can't read them, it's a little hard to ask the question. So we did ask that if you're still writing a question, just make sure you print it and you put your name on the card. And the way that we will do this is the questions will be handed to me, and I will read the name of the person who has submitted the question. I will ask that person to stand, and then I will ask their question. And the representatives will decide which of them can answer the question if it's not specified that the person asking the question has a specific representative they need to answer that question. Not all the questions obviously will be answered by all the representatives, and not all the questions will be asked. Unfortunately, you're just such a inquisitive crowd. We have quite a number of questions. So I don't think we're going to get to all of them, but so far it looks like they're pretty good questions, so I'm excited about that. And we will stop taking questions at 7:40. At 7:40, we will allow the representatives each to give a 2-minute statement, so their little wrap-up. When they answer the questions, they will also be timed, so they have about 2 minutes to answer the questions as well. So keep that in mind. So it's time to get started. Welcome, everybody. If I can ask the representatives to please come and take the chairs, the nice flowered chairs for the representatives who actually showed up. Thank you very much. You sit on any one of them. I'm gonna go in the back. All right. I think we're waiting on a couple more, but.
Yeah, Michael Garrett went to the wrong location, so he's on his way.
Oh, okay.
This is like this part.
All right. Well, I think we can get started because we have some entertainment before we get started. So before we do that, and before I give the introductions of our guest speakers tonight, I did want to take a minute. All over this country, people are keeping the good people of Los Angeles in their hearts and in their minds. We are very much in favor of and support the good people of that city who are fighting for democracy, who are protecting our democracy, but most importantly, who are protecting people who do not have the voice to be able to protect themselves. I think that the people of Los Angeles are setting a tone that we can all appreciate, and perhaps we could just have a moment of silence for all of that. Thank you. All right. Thank you. I do want to thank the senators and the representatives who have joined us this evening. I will be reading a brief introduction on each person, so thank you for being here. We are honored to have you here, but what I wanted to say is I am very honored to have all you here. I think that showing your concern for your community, showing your concern for your state is important. We all have very busy lives, and a Monday night from 6 to 8 is not necessarily the most convenient time to show up. So the fact that you have is tremendous. We do appreciate it. We think it's important that we continue to show up, and we continue to ask questions, and we continue to find ways of how we can be part of the solution to so many problems that have arisen in our country. So thank you again. I'm very honored to have you here. Before we introduce our representatives, we're going to give some of them time to get here, we have some entertainment. And so I would like to introduce now the Piedmont Raging Grannies. Hello, welcome. Put your step there. All right.
Can everybody scooch a little more in the back or move this way? Everybody scooch this way. This way. Okay, sing it out. Good evening, everybody.
Margie? Back here.
Okay.
Tonight, we'll remember that our country is deeply divided, and this hurts everyone. And we would like to bring some hope that we will find common ground and come to live in harmony with each other. So we're going to sing the song, My Country Tears for Thee.
My country tears for thee, where is our liberty, justice for all? We used to feel such pride, now there's a big divide. All reason has been cast aside, we are in a brawl. Our justice can be found if we find common ground. We all belong. Our cause is liberty, freedom for you and me. Come join us in a harmony as we sing this song. Come join us in a harmony as we sing this song.
Our second song comes to us from Holly Neer. Some of you may be familiar with it. It's called Singing for Our Lives. And I will be calling out the first line, and I invite you to join us. We are a gentle, angry people.
We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives.
All right. Yes, if the senators and representatives would please sit in the nice green chairs, because you are here. I appreciate it. And we will ask each of you, when you want to answer a question, if you'd step up to the mic so that we are live streaming this and we are recording it, so we want to make sure your answers are heard. Okay, so I'm going to take on the wonderful job of introducing those that are here who have agreed to be part of our town hall. So I will start with Senator Michael Garrett, who has been serving the Guilford community in the 27th Senate District in the General Assembly since 2018. And December was voted in as Deputy Minority Leader of the Senate Democratic Caucus. He has focused much of his efforts around the expansion of Medicaid and lowering health care costs for all North Carolinians, while also fighting to invest in our public schools, our state employees, and protecting our environment. Welcome, Senator Garrett. Senator Gladys Robinson is a health services executive and serves as a Democratic state senator for the 28th District in the North Carolina General Assembly. She serves as Deputy Minority Leader and was first elected in 2010. Senator Robinson is a fierce advocate for many issues, including increased public school funding, all children having equal access to quality education, all North Carolinians having access to affordable and quality health care, and expanding Medicaid. Welcome, Senator Robinson. Representative Tracy Clark, she's our newbie. She's been serving in the North Carolina 57th House District since August of 2024, representing northern Greensboro in Guilford County. She is a dedicated leader and a marketing professional. She brings over 15 years of experience in financial services, technology, and online media sectors. Her legislative priorities focus on strengthening public education, preventing gun violence, and safeguarding reproductive freedom. She serves on the House Committees for Appropriations, Appropriations for Transportation, Health, and State and Local Government. She is also the Democratic Freshman Co-Chair. Welcome, Representative Clark. Representative Pricey Harrison is a Democratic member of the North Carolina House of Representatives, representing District 61. She was first elected to the chamber in 2004, a long time. Representative Harrison has served and is serving on a number of House committees. Among them, she is the Vice Chair of the House Environment Committee, a member of the House Energy and Public Utilities Committee, the House Marine Resources and Aquaculture Committee, the House Appropriations Committee for Agriculture and Natural and Economic Resources, the House Judiciary I Committee, the House Election, Law, and Campaign Finance Committee, and the House Redistricting Committee. So one question to her would be, when do you sleep? Okay. Welcome. Thank you, Representative Harris. And last but certainly not least, Representative Amos Lewis Quick III is a Democratic member of the North Carolina House of Representatives, representing District 58 in Guilford County since January of 2017. A lifelong resident of Greensboro, he earned his degree in psychology from the University of North Carolina at Wilmington. Before his legislative service, Quick was a member of the Guilford County Board of Education from 2004 to 2016, serving as vice chairman for multiple terms. Beyond his public service, Representative Quick is a respected faith leader, serving as the senior pastor at Calvary Baptist Church in High Point. His leadership in the church and the community has allowed him to bridge the gap between policy and the needs of his constituents, particularly in advocating for marginalized communities. Representative Quick is a strong voice for working families, championing policies that promote economic development, social justice, and environmental sustainability. I'm not done yet, because we've got to get it all in there. In the House, Representative Quick has been appointed to several committees, including Appropriations, Agriculture and Environment, Oversight, Pensions and Retirement, and serves as the Democratic Whip. Welcome, Representative Quick. We have a few people in the audience today that are stepping up. Some have already stepped up and served our communities in an elected position, and some are on their way. So I'm going to try and not fracture anybody's name, and I will simply just read what's written on this piece of paper. So we have County Commissioner Brandon Gray Hill, and Brandon, where are you? Okay, yes. And what district do you represent? District 6, Brandon Gray Hill. Welcome, thank you. We have Mayor Nancy Vaughn of Greensboro. Tim Andrew from Ward 5 from the City of High Point City Council. And Samuel Hawkins, who is a city council, he's running for city council in Greensboro. Welcome. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like me to introduce you as a candidate or some? Oh. Okay, you know, this is why the politicians know what's best, because they said, turn the page over. We have some good people working for us. Okay. Richard Ojeda, he is running for the U.S. Congress 9th District. Okay. April Parker is running for District 3 for the Greensboro City Council. Mary Beth Murphy is with the Guilford County. All right. She's a Guilford County Commissioner for District 4. Got that right? Did I get that right? Good, thank you. Michael Holmes, the Mayor Pro Tem of High Point. All right. Tammy Thurm, who's not only smart and tells me what to do, but she is a Greensboro City Council, District 5. Thank you, Tammy. And Amanda Cook, who is running for the High Point City Council. Or are you on the council at large? Amanda, you are already on the city council. You are running. Keep that in mind. All right. And the rest that they wrote down are the people I introduced here sitting on the stage. I'm sorry? The mayor of Summerfield. Who is that? Can we have you stand? Thank you. Can I get your name? Okay, thank you. I know, yeah. No, it's okay. The mayor of Summerfield. Thank you very much for being here. All right, we're going to move on. So we're going to get right to the questions. We have a committee that has been graciously collecting these questions, and we have a variety of topics that we're going to try and cover today. So I'm going to sort of step over here while I'm looking at you, because I don't like to ask questions without looking at you. So the first question we have is related to LGBTQ. And the person wants to know, what precautions are we taking as a state, county, and city to protect our most vulnerable residents from the inhumane treatment of non-straight Christians? I am an anti-Trump, anti-MAGA Republican, and this is signed by Joe Pesco. Joe, can you please stand? All right, thank you. Did I pronounce your name correctly? Okay. Okay, please go. All right. Does anyone here want to answer that question? And then just step up to the, yes.
Thank you for that question. We actually, I think the Senate too, but the House Democrats for the past maybe 10 years have been filing equality for all bills that restore non-discrimination and access to public accommodations, repealing in totality the bathroom bill, restoring marriage equality, defining marriage equality in our state just in case the Supreme Court, per Justice Thomas's comments last summer that indicated that the Supreme Court might revisit Obergefell decision. So we've been trying our best to do what we can. Unfortunately, we're in the minority. So these bills have not been heard, but I want you to know that we're with you. We're doing our best. On the advocacy days, we are pushing these and pushing our colleagues, but we hear you, and we're doing what we can, and I know that's an inadequate answer, but I did want you to know that we've filed a number of bills and gotten pretty much the entire Democratic caucus on bills to support it, so thank you.
Thank you. This next question, I said that I would read the person's name first. So the next question comes from Jason Hicks. Will you please stand? Thank you, Mr. Hicks. The question is, the NC court system receives only about 2.5% of the state budget, and that much of it is for operational funding, and that comes directly from the people who interact with it through fines and fees. What steps can we take to ensure our judicial system is adequately funded by the state? Who wants to tackle that one? It's like a football team. They don't want to make the play until they know what they're going to do. So it's smart.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm going to step in for Senator Robinson, who did not adequately hear the question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And if you want to repeat the question so she can answer.
Sure,
I can
absolutely,
answer. Sure.
absolutely. Okay, so Senator Robinson, this is for you. I think he just did a handoff. This really is a football game. Okay, Senator Robinson, here's the question. The person is saying that the court systems are underfunded. They only receive 2.5% of the state budget, and that a lot of their support comes from fines and fees, which makes it difficult on people paying the fines and the fees, and wanted to know what steps the legislature might be able to take to improve the system so that it is adequately funded.
Well, first, I apologize. My ears are ringing. I have sinus, and I cannot hear in this one. So y'all thought I was acting up back there. But I really couldn't hear. One of the things that District Attorney Crump has asked for was additional assistant district attorneys. And we were able, in the Senate, we were able to get that. Senator Garrett and I were able to get that in the budget. We don't have the additional one, but at least we added that one. So that will address that particular issue.
All right, thank you.
I think there's important. I promise you I'm not going to dominate. I think there's also an important point to add is that it's shameful that we're funding our court system with fines and fees and people are ending up in jail. And I think that's the bigger point, that we are running, poverty prisons, basically, debtors' prisons, and we got to fix that. And this is the problem, and I apologize for sounding partisan, but when the GOP took over, they shifted the costs from the general funds to those who are affected by the court system. And it's just, we know the stories. We know people who are spending nights in jail because they can't pay a small bond, and we got to fix it, and we're going to fix it when we take control of the legislature.
Thank you. No, it's quite all right. The people who showed up, we know, are Democrats. So if you sound a little partisan, we get it. That's good. That's fine. All right, this question is on health care, and this is from Laura Lomax. Laura? There she is. All right. How will our state cope with many people who will lose health care insurance if Medicaid and/or Medicare get severe cuts?
I couldn't hear that. Anytime you talk about health care, we've had several sessions talking about the possible cuts coming from Washington. Now, our understanding thus far is that Medicaid, the Medicaid itself, won't be cut. As of now, I'm not talking about Medicaid expansion, okay? Medicaid expansion might possibly be cut, and SNAP will be cut. Now, what we'll need to do, my colleagues and I, in addition to advocating for money, Guilford County has already indicated to us how much money they will need to fill the gap. And we will have to look at that. We aren't sure we can get that, but we'll have to advocate for it. The SNAP is a serious issue. People don't have food. You know, some people say that it's an issue of people not using it correctly, but we're going to have to, as a community, have to fill that gap for people who don't have SNAP.
Thank you, Senator. And sure. Go ahead, Tracy. Thank you.
Okay. I'll just add something on the House side that I did. So I am a newbie, but I ran an amendment on the budget and the House side that I was very proud of, because essentially when it came to the floor, House Democrats, we tried to run about 48 amendments on things we saw or didn't see, and mine was on Medicaid, because one of the things they did in this massive 800-page document that we got 48 hours before we voted on it was that they drained the entire Medicaid reserve budget, which was about $970 million. And they moved it over to like the rainy day for general disaster relief, which it's all important. We need to do all of it. But my amendment tried to repeal that and keep the majority in the Medicaid reserve bucket because we didn't know, and still give about $250, appropriate that for the next Helene relief efforts that we are trying to push through. That night is the night that Virginia Fox at 1 a.m. brought forward that big, beautiful bill. So it was so timely that I ran this amendment, and such a shame that every Republican voted it down and we're fine to drain the Medicaid. So we are trying to keep reserves and keep protection at the state level, since we don't know what's going at the federal level. Sadly, that did not take place, but since then, I am now trying to get meetings with Fox and Tillis to tell them how I really feel about that big, beautiful bill. So we are fighting.
In addition to what has already been said, one of the things that, since I've been in the House, I've never voted for a Republican-led budget because of the things that the Republican-led budgets tend to do. Number one, the tremendous cuts to taxes for corporations and to some extent personal income tax has a cost to average North Carolinians. And that cost is that fines and fees and things like that, as Representative Harrison spoke of, are increasing. So the money that's cut from income taxes and from corporations paying their fair share of taxes has been thrown back onto average citizens. What does that have to do with the Medicaid issue? It has a lot to do with in the totality of everything that's going on. There's something that I heard, it's not my original thought, but I heard it and I liked it. It's called shift and shaft, and this is what the Trump administration is doing right now. It is shifting the responsibility of a lot of services onto states and then shafting states of receiving the funds to pay for those things. For example, FEMA relief is another prime example of the federal government refusing to pay for what had already been promised to us, and now we have to find money for rebuilding Western North Carolina. That has a cost on things like Medicaid. Let us never forget, Medicaid expansion was always a Democratic idea. The Republicans just happened to catch on to it and are trying to take credit for it. But Medicaid expansion is a Democratic idea, and when Democrats are in control, we will make sure that we protect programs like Medicaid and Medicaid expansion, because hundreds of thousands of North Carolinians depend on that, and we won't stand for the shift and shaft. We will continue to fight so that people can afford to get sick. Thank you.
All right. Okay, moving along. This question is on immigration. Why is the federal government weaponizing ICE to terrorize citizens? Did not the Irish, Italians, and other European immigrants have time to get their citizenship? This is the new Jim Crow, and this was asked by D. Charlene Green. I'm sorry, can you please stand? Dr. Green. All right, all right, so you stood up. That's your question. Okay, did you hear the question? Would you like me to ask it again?
Sorry, it's me again. I can't speak for why the Trump administration does what it does, but it sure promised us it was going to do this, and it's terrible, and it's shameful. But here in North Carolina, we filed two bills, House Bill 80 and House Bill 78, that would prohibit ICE from entering into hospitals, churches, schools to conduct these raids. And the other one was to prohibit them from entering workplaces, because we knew that in the first Trump administration, that's where they generally went, was farming, meat packing plants, that sort of thing. But you notice they're not doing that now. Now they're going to places like Home Depot and churches and schools, and they're not going to where their supporters are employers. But we're trying our best, and I'm sorry I don't mean to keep passing the buck, but we're trying our best here in North Carolina to do the right thing, and we're going to keep fighting for it.
I'm going to use the microphone as actually my size this time. How about that? New Jim Crow is a term, and it certainly can be applied and be appropriate. However, I would say this: certain people haven't gotten done with the old Jim Crow first. So this is another Jim Crow. So we as Democrats, for the most part, have stood with our immigrant community. Here in Guilford County, all of us have supported initiatives such as DMV DMV materials in different languages, so that those who live in our community who don't have English as their language at home, that they can safely drive and make all of us safe on the roads. We have supported refugee programs, and Greensboro and Guilford County is a huge place in our state for refugee programs. But also, we're still fighting the old Jim Crow, things that are anti-CRT, anti-diversity, equity, and inclusion. We're still fighting those fights, and we won't give up on that, because this is a diverse community. We live in a diverse nation. We are promised in our founding documents equity. All men are created equal and should have the right to pursue whichever that is that they desire to pursue, so they can reach that place of happiness. So we're going to fight that. I understand the term New Jim Crow, and Jim Crow keeps inventing himself. Some say he's now James Crow Esquire, and because the laws that are being informed to our state and our nation now are being founded by lawyers who have studied how things like Project 2025 can come into play in our state. So thank you for that very important question. And please know that when we see things like anti-CRT, anti-DEI, anti-immigration, it all fits in the same pot. It's Jim Crow and Jim Crow 2.0. Thank you.
All right. I think these answers are really good, but I do want to remind our guests that we have a lot of questions to get through. So thank you, Preacher. Preacher Quick. I heard you preaching. And we're in a church, so that makes sense. Okay, the next question we have is from Aaron Walton, and this is on gun law, and asks a specific question. What is the status of Senate Bill 50, which is called the Freedom to Carry NC, which would allow individuals to carry concealed handguns without a permit, and what is being done to ensure this doesn't pass? Oh, I was sure that Senator Garrett was going to answer that one, but go ahead.
Sorry, I had to jump in front of Garrett. This bill keeps me up at night. I've lost a lot of sleep over House Bill 5, Senate Bill 50. Senate Bill 50 is in the House Rules Committee tomorrow. We might vote on it tomorrow afternoon. It is happening extremely quickly. We are now figuring out the debate strategy on the floor. They have the numbers to pass it, so the Democrats in the House, our strategy is to tell the stories, to show the emotion, show how much people don't want this. We have tried to scream the statistics, all the research. It's not getting through to them. So I think I'm going to do a very heartfelt plea on the floor tomorrow. It will pass. This may be our first Stein veto override vote. So when that happens, we need all of your support to make sure the Democrats stay united, because if we all vote and support a Stein, we can hold this veto.
Okay, the next question is from Heath Clay. Heath? Okay, there you are. Thank you. The question being, how are you working with small municipal towns to support community infrastructure and preserve town charters like Summerfield? Who wants to handle that one? There you go. Welcome.
I've been assigned the most heartfelt question. No, thank you. That was a very good question, and I'm glad to see Mayor Sessoms here from Summerfield. I have worked closely with the mayor for several years now over many issues. And I say one of the things that we can have a moment of bipartisanship to say I think the General Assembly actually does a decent job at is partnering with our local municipalities in discussing what their needs are and finding a way that in Raleigh we can help support it. Every year, every session, Representative Quick is currently the Guilford delegation chair. Round of applause for him, because that's a thankless job. We meet with members of all of the town councils and the mayors of our local towns to hear what their legislative agenda is and to figure out best ways that we can support them. And I think that the General Assembly, in this particular arena, we have always rise above partisan politics to really help our local towns, because that is really the front line of democracy, is our local towns, municipalities, and our counties.
Thank you. Okay, the next question is from Tom Jacobowitz. It is on education. Tom? Okay. Oh, some of these questions were sent in ahead of time, so the person's not here. They sent this in ahead of time. He asked, why are public funds being diverted to private schools? We paid for our daughter's private schooling because her local schools were impoverished. Does anybody want to answer that?
I'll stand. All of you and we as well have opposed the voucher system for a very long time, and the cap has been taken off, and that's allowed much more money to be funneled into those. However, we don't have enough votes in the Senate to do anything about it. But one of the things for Guilford County is that 2 years ago, there was supplemental funding for teacher salaries. It wasn't given to Guilford County because it was considered in the same category as Charlotte and Raleigh. But that is not true. And so we've worked to get the supplemental funding in this budget for teacher salaries. And I hope that if it passes the House, it's going to pass. But that's been one of the major initiatives for us to get additional money into teacher salaries. So I can't answer the voucher, I'd stand on my head and say no. But you see what's happening to the public schools. You see that Guilford County is closing some schools. You see that the numbers have decreased. And so we know that that's a factor of charter schools, private schools opening and then taking up the money.
All right. Thank you very much. Sure.
So I think the question was why? And the answer is because they can, and because there's a systematic assault on public education in this state and in this country. There is absolutely no excuse. What we are doing with your tax dollars is immoral, inhumane, and we are turning our backs on future generations of children. In this state, we have classrooms that don't have teachers. In this state, we had counties that couldn't open school in time because the classrooms were unsafe because of mold. In this state, we are losing teachers at a record number, not because they don't love teaching, but because they can't afford to teach and sustain a family. And there are some wealthy people that are profiting on the backs of our children. Over $600 million we send to private schools under these plans, over $600 million. And I ask you, what are we getting for it? Is it because the private schools do so much better job educating children than the public schools? Absolutely not. Now what we're seeing is charter schools that were at risk of losing their charter from the state board just flipped and said, oh, we'll become a private school. Because in North Carolina, our private voucher system has no checks and balances. We are the worst in the country, even worse than Arizona. No certified teachers, no required tests. You don't even have to give the state auditor an audit that proves you're spending the money the way you want. So if you care about public education, you care about your kids, your grandkids, your neighbors' kids, I urge you call your members of the General Assembly, specifically the Republicans, and tell them to end this voucher scheme because we have real needs in this state, whether it's public education, whether it's public health, or rebuilding Western North Carolina.
Public education was the reason that I ran from the school board to the state house because of what I saw happening on the local level, and that was a higher level that was impacting our students and our teachers. But what we're doing with public education in North Carolina is one of the reasons that I've never voted for a Republican budget, because no matter what they put in the budget, as long as they're siphoning money off from our public schools to give them to rich people who have not asked for the support, who have not asked for the voucher fees, and we're siphoning off, as Senator Garrett said, almost $1 billion from our public schools to go into private schools. That's the reason why, as long as that's in there, that's a poison enough pill for me never to vote for a Republican budget that continues to do that. At the same time, here in Guilford County, we know that Guilford County citizens support our public schools. We have a $1.7 billion bond referendum that passed that shows that this county overwhelmingly supports our public schools. So like my colleagues here, we will continue to fight for public education, continue to, as Representative Clark and I have done, and Representative Harrison in the House, support amendments that seek to draw money from the vouchers to pay for other services in North Carolina. This is something that, as Senator Garrett has just demonstrated, this is something we're all very passionate about, and this is a fight we will never stop fighting because our kids are absolutely worth it.
Thank you. The next two questions have to do with voting. The first is on fair maps, and it comes from Ron Swanson. I don't know if Ron is here today. He's another person who sent in his question. He wants to know, will you commit to an independent board to manage redistricting?
This is my passion. I feel like if we can restore our democracy, we can fix everything in our state. And so my top priority has been to file a Fair Maps bill every year, basically since I've been elected. And everybody back here has supported either the House or the Senate version. It's something that we are committed to because that's the only way we're going to get our democracy back, is to have districts that actually represent North Carolina and North Carolina values. And so I think that's, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I want to add real quickly that I'm a victim of that. because 3 times I was redistricted. Because of that system, 3 times I was redistricted and had to move. You know, thank God I could move. But, you know, I could not represent you under their redistricting, and that's because they have the power, and the majority gives them the power. We have to change that system. An independent board would do that. We need an independent board to change the redistricting system in Guilford County. And then that way, all of our voices will be heard.
Thank you. This is a little more specific. We've addressed the Medicaid and Medicare cuts that are being proposed. This person, though, Randolph Reed, wanted to know how will current budget cuts impact public social programs and funding, especially social services and mental health?
That's a hard one, but it's real. The current budget, you know, what people need to understand is that the majority of our revenue comes from taxes. Personal taxes and then corporate taxes. And the fact that the corporate taxes are being cut down to almost, 2.5% now? Soon 0, means that we don't have enough revenue to fund all of our services. And then a bunch has to go to Western North Carolina. And we have an obligation to take care of those people. So as that happens, then the larger portions of our budget are health and education. And that's what gets cut. So we need to demand that the General Assembly keep the corporate tax level at a sensible level. Raise it. Corporations don't care. You know, they're getting the benefits. So we need to keep it at a level that will fund the services in our state.
Thank you. All right, moving along. Dr. Green asked this question as well as Deirdre Kevorkian. So if both of you could stand or identify, there you are. And this has to do with minimum wage. Can all speakers say yes or no, agreeing to increasing the minimum wage from $7.25? It is not a livable wage, and most people work 2 to 3 jobs despite being poor and on Medicaid.
Yes.
Everybody said yes.
$22, actually. We filed a bill for $22 minimum wage.
Did you all hear that? They filed a bill for $22 minimum wage. Here you go. Okay. All right. The next question. Oh, you all right? Okay. This has to do with immigration. Mary Cruz Hernandez, could you please stand? Okay, she sent this in. I do know there's some representatives here from Faith Action International House that does an incredible job of serving our immigrant population. What is your district's outlook on immigration? And someone also wanted to know what steps are communities taking to protect our immigrants? Did you already answer that one? Okay. We can add.
Yeah, I think we spoke generally about what's going on with ICE that I would like to say we're all upset with in general. There is areas we can do in terms of advocacy and philanthropy to support our immigrant and refugee community. So even if more are sadly not coming to our community right now because of the lockdowns, there are still a lot who are here who need our support. They need housing support, things to get them comfortable and situated. They need jobs. So I have met with Church World Service. I am president of Women to Women, and I read all the grants from the nonprofits. There are a multitude of immigrant and refugee nonprofits. I would encourage you all, if this is an issue you're particularly concerned about, volunteer with those nonprofits, donate to those nonprofits, and be a vocal advocate for their work in our community.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so now we have a question, and I don't have a person's name, so I'm just going to ask it anyway because it's different from the other ones. Why has the NC legislature denied the governor the right to carry out his constitutional duties with our Board of Elections?
I'll give the briefest answer possible because the Republican legislator doesn't like the fact that Democrats keep getting elected governor.
And if I could just quickly add, I appreciate that succinct answer. Part of the problem is we've lost the courts. And the courts used to be there to protect our democracy, to protect the constitutionality of the separation of powers and executive function. That no longer exists in our state because our Supreme Court doesn't agree with that, our Constitution. So that's the bigger problem, and we got to fix that. Thank you.
Okay, this is from Bobby Capobianco. Do I have that correct? Okay. That person, maybe I said their name wrong. But the question is about military force. What will you do if Trump calls up the National Guard like he did in California?
Military force, the National Guard, government. We don't really have a
Well, you can say you can't answer that question. That's okay, too.
I think well, just so everybody knows, there's a lot of passion around that question.
Are you looking?
Okay. I'm just going to do this.
Yeah,
All
there you
right.
go.
I think just Civics 101, how it normally works in the United States of America. For the National Guard to be deployed on U.S. soil, usually comes a request from the governor of that state, which usually comes after a request from the local chief executive. So in our case, it would be Mayor Nancy Vaughn would send a request to Governor Stein, who would then send the request to the White House. What happened in this case in California, the governor preempted any local request and just automatically decided to send in the National Guard. And I think everybody can see right through why that has happened. That it is there to create division. What? Oh, the president, sorry. President Trump sent in the National Guard without Governor Newsom's request. I got that straight that time? All right, good. And I think we all can see through it. This was clearly designed to sow division, to raise the tensions, to escalate violence in the city so that they get the images that they want on television so they can do this in other cities down the road. It's incredibly dangerous. And it is a very dark day and a dark stain on this country and on our history. Now, the question was, what would we do if that happened here? We actually up here have zero role in that. But I believe that Governor Stein would do just like Governor Newsom did and take their ass to court so fast.
Okay. We have another question from Dr. Green, who gave us a lot of good questions. Do you support abolishing the NIH research for Duke, UNC, and other medical research things that will harm medical science's future for years?
No, we're all no.
Yeah, okay. That was easy enough to answer. If maybe this one could be a little more, give a little more explanation. This person, Sherry McGee? Sherry here? There she is. All right. Sherry wants to know about this regarding voting rights. She wants to know, will our voting rights be protected for the 2026 and the 2028 elections? And then she wanted to know why the Republicans didn't show up for the town hall. But it's kind of hard to answer that since they're not here. But, and, yes, and one Democrat did not show up, yes. Voting
Can I answer
rights,
okay.
sure.
Just a real quick response. We're doing what we can. There are multiple assaults on our voting rights, we know. I will give you some good news. It doesn't look like the House Bill 6, which was going to restrict early voting by a week, remove a week on early voting, or House Bill 127, which is going to criminalize voter registration. It doesn't look like those bills are going to move anywhere close to their current form, if they move at all. So I did want to give you, and actually it's because the other party has figured out that early voting is good and that voter registration drives are good. So that's, against their self-interest. That's, unfortunately, it's not because they're otherwise motivated. But I was going to say at least that piece of it. And there are some outstanding bills that we're probably going to see before we adjourn at the end of this month. But those two that y'all have all been worried about and writing us about, I don't think they're moving like that in the House. I can't speak to the Senate.
All right, thank you. This person, Burton Kennedy. Burton here? All right, Burton wants to know, do you see any possibility for Guilford County to be redistricted for the U.S. Congress? This is regarding gerrymandering.
Yeah, I will tell you. Yes, because I'm testifying in a federal trial next week. There is a redistricting challenge that affects the congressional districts, and the Senate districts is going to start next Monday in federal court, a 3-judge panel. So there is a possibility. Yeah.
All right, I know you've answered the questions on immigration, so I'm just going to read, just to emphasize that there are many people here today who have issues that are very important to them, and I want to give weight to those issues. This person asks, what concrete steps will you take to ensure that federal agencies respect the Constitution and court rulings to protect the rights of immigrants and citizens like myself? And this is from Alfie. I can't pronounce your last name. Alfie? Baru. There you go. Can you answer that question? Do you want me to repeat it? What concrete steps can you take to ensure that federal agencies respect the Constitution and court rulings and to protect the rights of immigrants and citizens, like myself?
Well, you have to realize that there is separation between what we can do locally and the federal government. However, I will give you a case in point of a woman who came to my office, and she understood. I shared with her, I don't have any authority over this, but her husband had been detained because he was from another country. Now, he had a green card, but he'd been detained and not allowed to come back home. She said that they told him either go back home to your country or go to detention. And so he went to his country. I was able, because somebody I knew, to call Homeland Security. We can call Homeland Security and had that person to investigate. He said that he did not know the consequences. What I'm saying is that we have resources, and we have to think outside of the box, how we can help our citizens. They come to us because they don't know where to go. And we have to come up with ways to help them. And Homeland Security in Charlotte is a vehicle that we can get to help them. Sometimes they can't do anything, but sometimes they can give them advice.
Thank you. This person did not put their name down, but this question is about giving rights to people who oftentimes are denied them. And this really has to do with disabilities. If two people are disabled and wish to marry, they will both lose their benefits, making their lives impossible and unsustainable. When will we push for more marriage equality for Americans with disabilities? Is the state legislature doing anything on that? Okay. All right. Thank you, Shane. Okay.
Is this, oh, it's still working. Thank you for the question. And I would just say all of my colleagues up here have always been staunch advocates for our citizens with disabilities. Your particular question would actually require a change at the federal level to get rid of the marriage penalty. We would all be in favor of that, of course, and anything that we could do at the policy level to make sure that North Carolina general statutes conform with the change in federal law, we would all support. But we would need to, unfortunately, talk to some of our congressional folks in North Carolina about that, and I can't speak to their willingness to help.
Thank you. Greg Drumright. Greg here? There he is. All right. He's got some things to say, so listen up. With the millennial Gen Z voting bloc being over 25% in North Carolina, their concerns should matter. However, many feel that they don't resonate with the Democratic Party. What will you do to support the issues of the millennial base who feel alienated by the party and partisan politics that have divided us and disenchanted us from casting our future vote?
First of all, say hello to Pastor Drumright and Pastor McMichael, who I recognize here as well. I think that's Pastor C.J. Brinson as well. The Democratic Party right now is under youth leadership. A lot of our state officials are millennials and those who are younger than I am. The Democratic Party has recognized that we are losing as it relates to messaging. And so with having people like Anderson Clayton and having people like yourself, and I'm not just saying that because you're here, and others who push the Democratic envelope to make sure that we are including those who are new to voting, those who are turned off by voting, and making sure that millennials and others understand how the issues impact them. One of the things that we understand is we are part of a political class, and that is the things we talk about often are up here when people are often focused on how does this relate to me on this level. We have to do a better job of messaging, and having people like Anderson and Elijah and the others who are in charge of the Democratic message will help us reach that demographic, while at the same time understanding that the most reliable voters are older than millennials. So we can't turn them off with our messaging either. So we have to run trains on parallel tracks. We're attempting to do that, and certainly we'll use help, we'll accept your help and any others here. See April Parker, who is here, and she's having a Juneteenth event on next Saturday that seeks to reach just that same demographic to make sure that they understand these issues are not just older people issues, but they impact every last one of our citizens. And so we'll keep trying to push that message.
Thank you. Okay, I forgot what the category was, but it's a good question. What is the best way to impress those who choose not to meet the public? I think they mean, what is the best way to impress those politicians who choose not to meet the public that there are consequences for their lack of responsiveness? What's the best way we can, and that's oh.
All right, I will happily speak to this. So they can easily hide behind emails. One of our representatives said that he even received too many emails, but we all have legislative assistants who read our emails for us, so that's not a good excuse. I actually personally respond to every email that comes to my inbox because that's how important I think it is that my constituents can talk to me and I can talk back in a personal one-to-one manner. So I would not rely on emails. Also, voicemails are good, but again, those go to the LAs. knock on their door, come to Raleigh, meet them in the community where they go to church. Please look them in the eye and ask them why they're not representing you the way that they should be. Thank you.
I want to acknowledge someone who's in the audience who really gave Phil Berger a run for his money.
Yeah.
Dr.
Dr. Luking, stand up.
And he's going to run again. He's going to run again.
Thank you, Senator Robinson. Yes. I think that Dr. Luking is a prime example of people who step out of their comfort zone and speak up and fight for the people of North Carolina. And I think he deserves our respect and our applause. Thank you for being here. And thank you, Senator Robinson, for pointing him out. Okay. This person wants to know, I believe a bill was introduced to prevent installing solar fields on farmland. What is the status of that bill? And how is agrovoltaics considered in that bill? Is that the right, do I have the right word? I can't read there.
House Bill 729, whoever sent that question. Yes, so that, oh, okay, yeah. So that was Representative Jimmy Dixon's bill, and he's been on a tear. He represents Sampson County. He's been on a tear about solar panels on farmland. He says it takes away the best farmland. But because of all the pressure from you all and folks all over the state, that bill is reduced to a skeleton of its original form, and it is a tax increase. It's a removal of the tax abatement for those who put solar panels. They get an 80% reduction on the tax they pay to the county. And this bill will completely remove that tax abatement. So it's a little bit of a problem for the solar industry because you go into a business plan baking in that particular aspect of the tax relief. And the bill is idling out there someplace. It doesn't have the support to move. But there will probably be some effort to negotiate with the counties. I don't know if this really affects the cities or not, but an effort to meet with the counties because it's a priority of theirs to restore that tax funding that they think they deserve. And so the bill's not moving now. It may move. It doesn't have the support, and largely because of the pushback from you all and everyone across the state. So thank you for that.
All right. We have 3 questions. I'm going to choose one. Beth Garris Hardy, can you stand, please? Yes. She is concerned, this is another question about education funding, and she is concerned about how are we going to meet the needs of homeless and special needs students who would most likely not go to private schools or charter schools, but be in our public schools.
I will answer this question, and then I would ask that you all would please excuse me. I have a 7:30 schedule across town, so please excuse me for this, but also let me thank you for allowing me to represent you on the Board of Education and in the North Carolina State House. Thank you. As it relates to your question, thank you very much for that question. As a former school board member, this was something that was very important to us. We had a program called, and I'm going to forget the name of it. Say it again. Yes, that was the legislation. But we also had a program here in Guilford County. I'm going to call it stay-at-home program, but that's not the right name, where we sought to make sure that for consistency, students who were unhoused were able to receive transportation to go to the same school all year long, regardless of whether they moved around. We would try to provide transportation for them. Those kind of ideas, those kind of programs that recognize that homelessness and unhoused students and people's situations are so fluid and so here today, and then you're sleeping on this couch one day, sleeping on another couch, or sleeping in the car. The consistency of providing consistent meals for our students, the consistency of providing a consistent place for them to learn and form friendships and relationships with their teachers, those things are very important to me and us as we support public education and as we continue to support our unhoused populations, supporting the mayor and the city council in their initiative to get 10,000 houses built in Greensboro over the next 5 years. Those things are important to us. Those things help cut down on unhoused students, but we are always aware of that and always sensitive to those needs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. We had another question, but it was very much related to what Representative Quick just said, and he has to leave. So it was specific to High Point. And as we know, some of our communities have an overwhelming number of Title I schools, and I think he's addressed that when we asked about how are we going to meet the needs of families and students who do not qualify for private school. Well, they qualify, but don't have the money for private schools or charter schools. So, okay. So, you guys did such a great job answering these questions. So we're going to move along. And right now, what we're going to do is allow each of our guest speakers to get up and give a statement, and it can be anything you would like to say. Well, within reason.
I appreciate y'all being here. This has been great. We need more of these. I'm glad that you asked a question about the solar panels because there's another really bad energy bill that is coming up in rules tomorrow. It's Senate Bill 266, and many of y'all have been writing us about it because I'm getting a ton of emails, and that's the one that allows Duke to charge for a plant that may never get built, and to remove our interim goal where we want net zero in 2050. But we had an interim goal of 70% by 2030, and because of pressure from Duke and the big, large industrial consumers, they've eliminated that interim goal, and that will make it much more difficult to become net zero by 2050. So I just want to get that on your radar. It's Senate Bill 266. And it's going to be bad for the residential ratepayers. It'll be good for the industrial customers, but bad for the rest of us. And it will also not get us towards what we need to be doing about the climate crisis. So it's a critical bill. So beyond that, just thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for organizing. You all the sponsors, all the organizers. So thank you.
Thank you, Representative Harrison. Representative Clark.
Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. It means a lot to us that you spent your evening with us. You had a lot of great questions, and we are always happy to meet with you and answer any of the questions. I know there's a lot of concerns out there. So my parting comments will just be, what do we all together do going forward, right? Because it's easy to get very overwhelmed, very upset, and just cocoon in on yourself. And so my plea to you all is please don't do that, okay? So you being here shows that you are fighting through this. And so kind of 3 things that I do that I think might be a good way to move forward is, 1, figure out your why. Like, what is it that's compelling you? Is it reproductive health? Is it immigration? Is it Medicaid? Anything, figure out your why, and thus what are the avenues that you can do to get plugged in on that? What nonprofits are working on that? What organizations are advocating about that? What legislators are writing bills to support it? Or more importantly, what legislators are writing bills to hurt it in this environment right now, right? So focus your efforts so that you feel some momentum. Because if you're just swarming and everything going on, you're gonna feel like you're not moving. And we all have to feel like we're making progress. And so what I did when I was feeling very overwhelmed in the first Trump administration is I made a 1-, 2-, and 5-year plan. I said, what is something short-term I can do to take action? What is my longer-term goal, and what is my final goal? It all culminated together in running for office much more quickly than I thought I was going to. I'm so honored that that was able to work out for me. But my interim steps were doing IOPL, which is a leadership program to train. And then it was helping Steve Luking on his campaign. So again, there's a lot of ways you can plug in. You don't have to run for office. We need a lot of people to run, so please do if you want to. But figure out your why, thus your what, and then make the 1-, 2-, and 5-year plan so you feel like you're doing something. Because we all have a role to play here, and we can all do it together. So thank you.
Thank you, Representative Clark. Senator Robinson.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you. As always, I think I've gone to every forum you've had over 14, 15 years now. And I really appreciate your support. But I want to say something first to Greg, Reverend Drum right there, because he represents an age group that is not present very much. And we have to do something to get those young people out. We have to, if we have to have a forum targeted to that group, we must do that because we need them. And they are the future. So I would encourage him and any of you that would help him on college campuses, whatever groups you have, to help him organize and to bring that group forward. Now, they're going to have some different questions, so we had better be ready. They're going to have some real powerful questions, but we can handle them, and we need to hear them. We need to hear them, because you can't keep doing the same thing the same way.
That's right.
You can't keep doing it. And the next thing, the final thing I would encourage you to do is get up, and I don't care how you get organized. We should have been organized months ago. We can't wait another day. We can't wait another day. Maybe it's because I feel the pressure and the age, but we cannot wait. If you have to organize in your communities, your whoever, you have to organize and get people together to help everybody who's out there running. All of these are good candidates, and they need your help. So I would encourage you, I'm going to be out there, so I would encourage you to help me and to help yourselves. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Senator Robinson.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone that worked to organize this town hall tonight. It was an incredible turnout, but thank you to each and every one of you that came out here on a Monday night to listen to a bunch of politicians ramble through your questions. You know, I didn't plan a closing statement. Probably didn't read the email close enough. But while everybody else was answering, it gave me a moment to think about what to say. And I was reflecting on the questions that were asked tonight. And what was very vividly clear is that there is a lot of angst, a lot of concern, and a lot of fear right here at our home. And as the father of 2 young children, Jack and Charlotte, 7 and 4 and a half. Well, if I don't throw the half in, she gets very angry. And my wife, Allison, who is my rock. It hurts right here when my neighbors are scared and fearful and have anxiety. But every day we turn on television and we can see why. Because every day on television it's something new. Something new that says what we thought always was safe is safe no more. Institutions that we always thought were there to protect us are there to protect us no more. And where do we go from here? And why, to Senator Robinson's question, were we flat-footed? We got Project 2025 months ago. We knew the playbook. But we were flat-footed. But that has to change. And our resolve to fight back and defend our home and defend our values has to start now. It cannot wait till 2026. It has to start now. And what gives me hope is every morning when I get up and I look in my kids' faces and they're playing with their friends, they give me hope. But what else gives me hope? When I walk across my district come election time, knocking doors, talking to voters about what matters, you know what I hear? The values we have in this room, and I can say we share values because your values are reflected in your questions. The values we share in this room, the majority of people of this state share those values. The people in North Carolina that believe every child, no matter their zip code, deserves a world-class education, we're the majority. The people of this state that believe a woman controls her own body, her own life choices, and her opportunity, we are the majority. The people that want the air and water in their neighborhood to be clean, to breathe and drink, we are the majority. The people that think and believe that our LGBTQ brothers and sisters have the right to live their life and marry and love who they want to love, we are the majority. And the people who believe that a parent should be able to drop their kid off for school and give them that nice warm hug should not have to fear that that's the last time they'll hug their child. We are the majority. And the majority of the people in North Carolina love democracy. And they believe that when more people vote, democracy is stronger, that your opportunity to participate in democracy shouldn't depend on the color of your skin or the part of town you live in. We are the majority. So my parting challenge to you, democracy is worth fighting for. Democracy is on the line. And democracy is a participatory sport. So when we leave here, let's not forget how we feel here tonight. Let's not forget how we felt the day after Election Day in 2024 so that that doesn't happen again, because the kids of tomorrow are depending on us. Thank you so much and have a wonderful night.
Thank you. Well, that's a hard speech to follow. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. It really meant a lot to all of us. And before you all go, we're going to have Tyler Day speak a little bit about a special event coming up. But before he comes up, I just want to say one other thing that kind of resonated me. Earlier on, Senator Robinson said that programs funding was being cut here and there, and that we were filling in the gaps. Well, I look out at this audience, and I know that every one of you fills in those gaps all the time. You don't have to be asked, you don't have to be begged, because you care about your neighbors. And as Michael said, we're good people, and the majority of people in North Carolina care about our families, but we also care about our neighbors. So I just want to thank you, and I do want to encourage all of you, especially Greg Drumright, who's going to bring tens of thousands of young people to the polls. I want to thank you all for coming. I want you all to make your plans to vote and to bring other people to the polls, because as they said, the voting is our power and we cannot yield that. So thank you so much. I'm going to have Tyler just give us a quick rundown on this event. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for coming out. My name is Tyler Day, and I'm the Policy and Civic Engagement Manager with Common Cause North Carolina. And I just wanted to make sure that you all were aware, and I know Representative Harrison mentioned earlier, that we've got a redistricting trial that starts next week in Winston-Salem, and this is challenging our congressional and state legislative maps on the basis of racial gerrymandering. Unfortunately, we don't have the ability to challenge for partisan gerrymandering because the state Supreme Court has ruled that partisan gerrymandering is okay in North Carolina. And the federal courts have decided not to take up partisan gerrymandering cases. But I want to just highlight the significance of this case and the fact that it is in Winston-Salem, and encourage you to come out and pack the courtroom and make sure that the judges there know that this is something that the people here in the triad care about. I know I and probably many of you spoke at public hearings or gave public comment asking that the triad be kept together in one congressional district, and that we were split between 4 districts. Truly, I don't know what to say to that. And in fact, one legislator congratulated Guilford County for getting 3 congressional districts, which is unbelievable. There may be legislators there who were involved in drawing these maps, and I think it's important that they see the people that they have affected. I would encourage you to come out. It's starting next week. We're really encouraging people to come on that first day, Monday, June 16th, 9 a.m. It's 9 to 5 p.m. The Ward Federal Building, U.S. District Courtroom 1, and that is 251 North Main Street in Winston-Salem. And you can go to ccnc.me/court. Again, that's ccnc.me/court to RSVP and to learn more about that. And if you RSVP for this event, we'll make sure that you get all this information. Well, thank you all.
All right, we ended early because we're all that good and our questions were that concise. Thank you again so much for being here. Have a safe, yes? Okay, no King's protest, Saturday, 11 o'clock in High Point. Be there.